Mercedes-Benz has decided that they're graciously going to allow Tesla to practice for a little longer, for another year, selling all-electric SUVs like Model X and Model Y next year, you know, before Mercedes gets in there and just completely puts Tesla out of business. At least that's how I'm reading into this after their, well, really shocking announcement about their all-electric SUV EQC, which I have to say that I've kind of been falling in love with, you know, for a while now. I've seen it a few times. Like this is in Vegas, where I got to see it in person for the first time and ride in it and kind of realize that this is a really true luxury SUV that I really like. And this video is on my channel. This is me also reporting about it from CES. This is me and Tom reporting about it at the Frankfurt Auto Show. And this is me driving it through the streets of Frankfurt, which there is no video on my channel about it because it was so hard to drive there that I wasn't able to actually talk to the camera at all, pretty much, because I was busy trying to, you know, not die on the streets of Frankfurt. The traffic there is pretty crazy. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you already have. Don't forget to click on that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything moving forward. All right, so now this car, the reason I really like it is actually for quite a few reasons. Now, first of all, the pricing that they've announced for the US here, they were supposed to start selling them pretty much in another 2 or 3 months in Q1 of 2020, is pretty good. It's around $68,000. It's about $10,000 less than I expected because they have all the incentives, including the tax credits. After all that, this car can be purchased at under $60,000 really, which I think is a great deal for a great SUV that's Mercedes and over 200-mile range. Now, I know some people say, oh, it's not enough, but you know, actually it is. For a lot of people like myself, my Model S 60 kilowatt hour one that I had for a while, never had range anxiety and then had less than 200-mile range. I have a Volt now, and you know, I almost never need gas. So I really like this car, and I'm a little sad about what's happening. And here's a statement from Mercedes, and it says right here, it's a strategic decision to, by the way, it's not a strategic decision if you're announcing something that you're changing, that you've planned for a while and you're doing it 2 or 3 months before doing it. So, all right. It is a strategic decision to first support the growing customer demand for the EQC in Europe, and then they continue saying in that statement, as a result of this decision, the US market launch date of the Mercedes-Benz EQC will be rescheduled to 2021. Wait. Yeah, you know, this is, I feel like, you know, I got a text message from a girl who was supposed to meet on a date and that she's busy washing her hair and she's not going to show up. And first of all, why can't you wash your hair and then show up like you promised? And secondly, did you not know you were going to be washing your hair? Why did we even schedule this in the first place? All right, but I mean, enough about my dating problems, but really, this is really weird. It's a company that's been around for a while and should be able to plan stuff. And when they finally decide on something, reversing it is kind of weird. So, and but now I have to say that Mercedes-Benz is not the only one who has these two problems. And yes, there's a second problem we're going to talk about. Let me tell you what their explanation for those is, and I'm not saying it's going to be a good explanation. I'm just saying that there's going to be an explanation. Before that, of course, a quick reminder that this video and this channel is sponsored by Byton, the SUV, the all-electric SUV that's coming to the US and Europe, at least better, because I'm waiting for I can't wait to get one because I've already reserved it and I paid $0 for it. You should join me and tens of thousands of other people who's done this. So go to the description of this video, spend about 60 seconds of your time and reserve your Byton today. All right, I really can't wait for this car. Anyway, so now here's the thing. It's not just Tesla that essentially Mercedes-Benz kind of did this favor for. It's also Audi that's been selling their e-tron for about a year, and now they've unveiled the e-tron Sportback, so it's kind of the same car but just different shell, if you will. And of course Jaguar I-Pace has been also selling for over a year now. I know together even they are selling about what 1,300 units per month or so here in the United States, though for the brand like Jaguar it's actually a decent amount. If they sell 300, 400, 500 of these per month, that's still pretty good number altogether with their global sales. It's like 8, 9, 10% of their to get a sale. So that's pretty decent. But these are the companies that are already here, they're selling, and Mercedes is going like, yeah, you guys go without us, go make money without us, go into the future without us. I don't get it. Now here's another problem here, and it is that the other companies, other brands are also have decided not to bring some of their pretty good electric car models to the United States, which of course includes ID3 that was recently unveiled in Frankfurt. This is me hanging out in one of those right about an hour after the unveiling, and it's a great car. And they're saying, no, we're not going to the US. Also, Honda with a Honda E said that we're not going to the US either. Look at those cute pair of eyes, and the Honda E is also in the picture. It's on your right. So, all right, but listen, all jokes aside, I don't really understand why they're doing it. Now, there is an explanation, just like I said, and what has happened is this: it's a stricter European regulations that are starting in 2020, unlike here in the United States, when we're kind of making a few steps back on our regulations because we think, breathing is overrated. So now these, well, essentially this makes these compliance cars. And yes, Mercedes is going to produce them on a mass scale, and so is the Volkswagen with ID3 and Honda. But essentially, these are compliance cars to go to Europe and not to the United States, even though I kind of feel like they can do both, like they do with all other cars. And this brings me to the second point, and the problem here is the battery supply. And I know it's not as easy as just running to Radio Shack and picking up a few extra batteries. You have to have a supply chain strategy and so forth. By the way, for those 5 millennials who are watching the show, radio here is kind of like podcasts, except for you don't get to pick your favorite songs. All right, so now that we covered that in our quick history lesson, we can also talk about other sort of compliance cars like Kia Niro EV, which is a great crossover SUV, compact SUV, what do you want to call it, with great range, over almost 300 miles of realistic range. And so is Hyundai Kona EV, which is kind of their sister car. After incentives, we're talking about $30,000, and yet they're not making too many of these because of the issues with batteries. Now, these are multi-billion-dollar companies that have had supply chain management figured out for decades now. I don't quite understand why they can't get to figure out the batteries. The batteries that are in our phones and flashlights and pretty much everything that we run. I know they're bigger batteries, but these are bigger companies, and they should be able to figure it out. I just don't quite understand why they haven't. I know even Tesla's been kind of having some issues with Panasonic and so forth, but come on, it's just I'm just kind of really sad and that Mercedes kind of stepped on my hopes and dreams because I was looking forward to this car coming to the US. This is a good all-electric SUV, gives you another dimension in terms of as far as driving a luxury SUV and competing with other brands. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen, at least for another year. By the way, thank you so much to those of you who are watching me live on Patreon. I stream live on Patreon, then repost it on YouTube, so you're the first ones to know, and especially to one of my newest Patreons, Horst Furman. Thank you so much for joining me. As you guys know, I do this full time, and the only way I can put bread on my table is Patreons and sponsors. So thank you so much for doing that. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click on that subscribe button. If you have, boom, bell notification icon, so that way you don't miss anything moving forward. All right, so let me know. If you were thinking about maybe getting in EQC, if you're sad that they're not coming to the US as well, we'll have a virtual hug in the comment section and maybe work it out in group therapy together. All right, looking forward to that. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.